J S E C O re.
Welcome back my fellow theorists, it is me, Jeffrey, and I'm finally back from my long hiatus of Jacksepticeye theory. Just a heads up for this theory video. This theory video is gonna include all the recent stuff about our sad dad Chase Brody. So, it's been a long time, and we got a lot to go through in this, so let's get started. So let me explain about this whole mess and how it happened. Alright, cue the Buzzfeed Unsolved music. On September 21st, just a day before my birthday, Jack posted this on Instagram. And it seems that whiskey bottle may look familiar to you. Oh, and you may notice that the hat is different. Well, as I said back in my mini theory video, that Jack probably forgot the original Chase hat and perhaps bought a new hat that looks similar to Chase's hat. Next picture was on September 23rd. Here we have Chase looking rather odd because the way the sun is reflecting a bullet, but I talked about this in my mini theory video, so let's move on to the next picture. On October 3rd, Jack posted this on his YouTube story. This is Chase being a sad boy and drinking whiskey, but the thing is, he's in the woods. I don't know, or how is Chase in the woods? Then it kinda leads to this next picture. This picture of Chase was posted on October 11th, a day after Auntie's birthday. Once again, Chase being a sad boy and being in the forest, like he's in Blair Witch. This seems like the photos are leading up to something, maybe a video? Alright, now that I showed you the photos, let me show you the recent one. Tumblr was freaking the freak out when I saw this. So it says tomorrow Chase, and as the day I'm editing this, it's already uploaded. But we'll get to that later. But another thing happened with the community. If anybody has Discord, then you might have heard this. This is an audio file that Jack posted on Discord, but unfortunately it is deleted. But I'll play the audio file a few times and tell me what you hear. Some people on Tumblr have said that there's a train in the background and there was breathing. It sounded like Chase was running away from someone or something. But sadly though, the audio on the Discord was deleted, and for anyone who are wondering about his Discord, he sometimes posts the link to the server, probably on Tumblr or something. Someone on Tumblr put the audio in a spectrogram, And this is what it looks like. This picture says I can't hear you, and I don't know who is it referring to, but all I know is that this is very cryptic. And I don't know what Jack has planned for the rest of October, but I'm ready for some ego content.
Tomorrow.
Before we get to the chase video, I wanna bring up Mark, because Mark has been hinting at the heist with Markiplier lately in some of his videos. So let's take a look at the clips.
Hello everybody, my name is Markiplier and welcome back to 3 Scary Games. Don't worry, I'm not gonna spook you right here at the beginning. I wouldn't do that. I'm so nice. And friendly. And happy. I'm a friendly guy. Friendly guy with friendly ways. Nothing to worry about, just 3 Scary Games. You know it. You love it. That's what you come here for. What? I don't remember what I was supposed to do. Whoa! To memorize that.
Those were the clips and I haven't checked Mark's Tumblr yet, but I have been checking Jack's mostly. But let's get to the video titled Chase.
If you wanna go, then I'll be so lonely. If you're leaving, baby, let me down slowly. Let me down, down, let me down, down, let me down, let me down, down, let me down, down, let me down. If you wanna go, then I'll be so lonely. If you're leaving, baby, let me down slowly.
So right off the bat, Chase is evicted, meaning that he is homeless. Alright, continue. But wait a minute. The case number, that date looks familiar.
It's got to get a sip of water.
There are a few things I like to point out from this video, like the glitch noise, when Andy was spying on Chase, when he was looking through the glove box, Chase going the grave or so-called cairn, and putting a photo of his wife and kid. There is so many to talk about in that one scene, and as the time I'm editing this, Jack had uploaded another video which I'll get to, but later on in the video.
No, 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 no! That was it? That was it? No! 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 Oh my god! No! Wait, I want to stay on the chat. Wait. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
So now that we looked at the Chase video, how about we take a look at Tumblr and read those theories, shall we? Okay, so you know how Chase is always talking about his quote-unquote kids. I find it kinda weird how he talks about more than one kid, but in the Chase video we see this. Here is only one kid in the photo, and in videos that he posted Jack is always talking about a woman named Sandra.
I'm so happy that Sandra's dead. I'm much happier with Jan instead. Oh, Sandra, I don't f***ing care about your stupid kids. Call me when you go to college. Stop showing me pictures of them.
Why, Sandra?
Oh, God.
Why did you leave me? Oh, God, Sandra, why? I thought you loved me. How could you leave me for him? I thought you loved me.
No, stop. Whatever it is you're doing, stop. No. You know that, Sandra? I don't know what you expect out of a relationship, Sandra.
So maybe after Stacy left him, he met a woman named Sandra, they had a kid, or kids, and Sandra left Chase for someone else. Maybe the person in the photo isn't Stacy, it's Sandra, or vice versa. Maybe we are in the future, or maybe one of the kids from Stacy or Sandra died, and Chase is visiting their grave. Or maybe it's Sandra's grave, because in one of the power hours it does talk about Sandra being dead. Maybe I'm getting too into this, I don't know, but hey, it's just a theory. I'm making this more for my own sake, but figured I might as well share it. His story begins with Bro Average in April of 2017. Here, we see him as he portrays himself for his audience, trying to make himself be happy, hiding the fact that he's hurting, until he breaks and admits it to the cameras. Whether the suicide attempt was meant to be seen as real or not, we still don't know for sure, but we do know one thing, Chase lives. The next time we see him mentioned by name is during the summer of 2017, when Jack chooses to kill him in Wyoming Redemption. However, we also know that this isn't a successful attempt at killing him off either, because a bit later, in Kill Jacksepticeye, Dr. Schneeplestein confirms that he's very much alive.
I saved my very good friend Chase. Chase Brody, he went back, he saw his family. Did they take him back? We may never know. Jack, are you okay?
After that, it's radio silence on the chase front until Mayhem 2018, at the end of the third chapter of Stories Untold.
Jack! Jack! This is Chase. You need to wake up.
Later in the month we get a game about depression, which reveals to us that Chase is the one behind the camera sometimes, while the character Jack is comatose.
Yeah, so it's been kind of rough lately. I mean, I still get to see my kids on the weekend and everything. It's just been hard because, you know, one of my best friends is in a coma for a while, and like I go to see him every now and then and just chat to him and everything, but I don't know if he hears me. But yeah, no, things are looking up on the future though, on the horizon.
It's then implied that he's been doing worse for wear since the events of Bro Average, having turned to alcohol when his depression gets bad. Days later, we see Chase come face to face with none other than Auntie in Dark Silence. He yells the infamous lines.
Where are they? What do you want from me?
And the faint screams heard beforehand are heavily implying that something has happened to his kids. And up until today, that's all we could say we knew for sure about his story. Enter Chase. Throughout this entire video, we see just how downhill his life has gone since the events of May 2018. He's being evicted from his home, he's living out of his car, he still hasn't put the whiskey away, and it's heavily implied that harm has befallen his kids, Stacy, or both. He's hit rock bottom, and Auntie still isn't leaving him alone. Was Auntie responsible for the harm to Chase's kids and or Stacy? We don't know for sure. We can't really, truly say we know much about the events in and implied by this video, because Sean has yet to come out and say yes, this is exactly what happened in it, and why. But, now that I'm looking at Chase's story as a whole, I think it's safe to say that something big is going to happen next for him, whenever it happens. How do I know? Just look at all the shit he's been through. He almost died 2 or 3 separate times alone. He's lost everyone in his life who meant the most to him. It's even implied that he's given up on his Bro Average career. It can't get any worse for him. But, do you know what else that means? The only place he can go from here is up. This isn't some Shakespearean tragedy where everyone dies in the end. Sean wouldn't do that. And, it's like he always says, all it takes in your darkest moment of despair is a single moment of clarity to pull you out of it, to make you feel like life is still worth living. It's going to be time for Chase to feel that moment of clarity for himself soon enough. Whether that's going to happen with the help of the other egos, or whether he's going to find that spark in himself, we don't know yet. All we know is that the video ended with Chase being brought somewhere else in the blink of an eye. It cold been into his doing, his own, or even Marvin's, but whatever the case may be, something big is on the horizon for him. I'm sure of it. So in the beginning we start off with Chase getting evicted. Now, this can be for several reasons, but as someone has mentioned in their theory, the case number and the date on the eviction match the dates to Dark Silence and to Marvin's birthday. Then we see Chase go to his car, and then we see Chase in his car, but he's not alone. Sean has confirmed that this isn't he. However, I'm not sure if he's making eye contact with us, breaking the fourth wall as he loves to do, or if he's just seeing if anyone else can see him. Chase starts looking through his glove box. We see a bottle of whiskey there, but then he pulls out a photo. And that is when Chase starts to lose it. Everything piled up so much that he can't help but scream. Chase starts driving off. We see a beautiful scenery of woods. Now, I don't know if Sean has ever gone camping, but he did used to live in a cabin in the woods, and he's told many stories about how Ireland is perfect for hiking and camping, and is surrounded by farms, wildlife, and woods. So, I think it's safe to assume that he might have gone camping, or at least has done a lot of hiking. But I do have to point out a few other things. 1. I did used to camp when I was younger. Here in America, cairns are what hikers, campers, and hunters use as markers for marking their trails, so they don't get lost. Or if they do somehow get lost, then they can easily find their way back to the trail. However, cairns are also used as a memorial marker for when hiking, camping, or hunting accidents. The fact that Chase knew where this cairn was, and it's near a camping ground. The fact that he was screaming and crying no after seeing the photo. This tells me that quite possibly one of Chase's kids, maybe his oldest son, was killed in a camping or hiking accident. The reason why I say possibly oldest son is because Chase has said his kids and always talks about his daughter, but never his son. And several members of the community has pointed out and said that kid in the photo is a boy. Then things get a little weird. Chase was sitting on a rock and was drinking, then he is teleported to another location. He's so confused and doesn't know where he is. Chase starts searching himself. He sees no bottle of whiskey, but he also notices another thing when his hand goes to his pocket. No phone. When Chase is at the cairn, he takes the photo out of his back pocket. Right there in the front right side is bulge of a phone. Chase turns around and see that he's in a city and doesn't know where he is. Now, there is some speculation, especially after Sean, like the one theory on Twitter, that Marvin transported Chase. I asked someone what their thoughts might be, and I have to agree with them. I think it was both Marvin and JJ teleporting Chase. Here's the reason why I think that. I think the setting was supposed to be in Ireland, and the reason why I think that is because Sean grew up in Ireland. He hiked and lived in a cabin in the woods. When he moved to his new apartment in Ireland, he always said how much wildlife and wood area there is in Ireland. He also confirmed that Chase did a lot of nature hikes. So, Chase lived in Ireland, went back to visit the memorial marker on the anniversary. And why I think it is both Marvin and JJ that teleported Chase. We control canon more the canon. Several of us write, headcanon, theorize, and drawn Marvin as a magician. Whether it's like a Merlin or Harry Potter kinda magician, or the flashy sleight of hand, Harry Houdini or Chris Angel kinda magician. The place that he can easily do all that be successful is either Los Angeles or Las Vegas as a headliner. The reason why I think JJ might have helped too is because Chase didn't have his phone with him when he got teleported. Now, depending on the time frame JJ's from, cell phones weren't invented. Cars were, and many brands have been around for over 100 years. This can be the first meeting of Chase and Marvin, or Chase and Marvin and JJ. Lots of people are assuming the cairn Chase visits is a grave marker or memorial of some kind representing the death or loss of his family. But there's another use for cairns I haven't seen mentioned, which is they may also be used as location markers to prevent people from getting lost. I believe, and don't quote me on this, Jack at some point mentioned Chase used to take walks in the woods with his kids. What if they set up the cairns together so they could always find their way back? Remember the caption on one of the Instagram stories? Lost. Whether it is his family or Chase himself who is lost, that has yet to be seen. But I think Chase's visit to the woods that day was some part of him trying to find his way back. And maybe his family might do the same. I was talking to a friend when a thought hit me. Here, Chase is in a forest drinking as he mourns the loss of his family and his home. Then, milliseconds later, he's thrust into completely different surroundings. Trees and stones are now replaced with buildings and cars. Confused as to what happened, he looks over the edge and then does something very subtle but I think very important when he turns back. He looks at the hand that was holding the bottle. It surprises him to see it's not here, but he's sure he had it a second ago, right? Now we have a situation where he can't tell which scene is real. Did he really go and visit the stones, drinking the pain of loss away? Or was it something he wished for out in the car park to the point where he wanted it to be real? The transition between the forest and the city is so sudden that he can't distinguish what is a dream and what's reality, and neither can we. Those were some of the theory posts that I found on Tumblr, but I'm pretty sure it's being lost in the sea of more flames that happened.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Because we upload games all the time and we have a lot of fun out here.
So that was the ending clip from the video. So the video had glitches in it, so let's get to that. So this video had its suspicious moments, so let's start with the clips, but we'll get to the theories talking about it later.
Dr. Sean. Dr. The Otherworld transition has some glaring flaws. You know, like Richard Nixon. Oh, this is a bad sign. Chase, is that you? Oh, she wasn't there!
Those were the clips from that video, but there was a lot of theories about the ending. And honestly, when I first saw that ending, it kinda gave me a Doctor Who vibe. So let's get to those theories about Henrik von Schneeplestein. Okay, I'm sitting here staring at what the fuck all these three equations are in the video. After very careful observation, have transcribed them to the best of my ability. The things in brackets are things that I'm not entirely certain on. Most of them are fourth things, where I couldn't quite figure if it was one or the other. And the brackets around the omega are because I saw from another post that someone had found what seems to be the equation Sean had, but I can't be absolutely sure, since there are no frames that show enough of that side of the equation to actually tell. Everything else though I'm 100% confident is transcribed right. So take it, childs, and do with this information as you pleasing. So, as we know, there's a lot of speculation that Henrik's scene in You're Not Ready for These Scary Games is him somehow trying to figure out how to reverse time. He could be doing this to change the events of Say Goodbye, so that Auntie doesn't make Jack slit his throat and have him fall into a coma, because Henrik still hasn't been able to save him, and time traveling is like his last resort or option. But, what if Henrik's already gone back in time? What if he's succeeded before? This could explain why, in Kill Jacksepticeye, Auntie says,
"How many times must we go through this again and again? Over and over fucking circles!"
These could signify him being annoyed because he's wary of when the timeline shifts, and fucking circles could indicate time portals or wormholes happening over and over.
Nothing gets rid of me like a boy! I'm eternal! There are no strings on me.
And he could be telling us that not even time traveling will stop him from killing Jack, and that he's always going to be alive, even if Henrik or any of the other egos try to kill him. Not that they could anyway, because he says, there are no strings on me, and that could mean that the egos aren't able to control him because he's too powerful. Henrik was very surprised when he saw the time portal on his computer screen, so he obviously didn't know what was happening or why it was there. What if it was Marvin teleporting Chase to the rooftop in Chase? It couldn't be Henrik, because he was confused about it. So what if it was Marvin? Where did he get teleported to though? Well, in Chase it looked like the roof of a hospital parking lot. And who works in hospitals? Doctors. And who's a doctor? Fucking Dr. Schneeplestein. Henrik could be in the hospital and Chase is on the roof of it, and Marvin cold teleported him there so that they would find each other. Anyway, I have a theory. What if Schneep was going to use a time machine to go back in time to the date of March 25th, 2017? So what if he used this to save Jack, but the time machine had an error or a glitch in the system? That would explain why Schneep said, "What is this?" No. So this glitch in the system made time as broken as it is. This would explain why certain characters are glitching in different locations and different characters appearing from different eras, and even Auntie being in Chase's car. Maybe he got teleported into the car because of the time machine. Or maybe he's stuck in a time loop. He does say going around over and over, fucking circles. I'm tired of it. Maybe they are all stuck in a time loop because of the machine. So maybe Marvin is trying to assemble all of the egos one by one to figure out how to get themselves out of the loop. After all, time is literally broken. I know for a fact that he's dealing with time for the T, and normally those equations have more than just that. It's a failed equation. It doesn't work. It's not complete. And then we have that thing that I personally don't know what does it mean. Maybe it's destination and target, but who knows. And now we have this equation. This one was buried under a lot of paper balls. Under equations that doesn't work. But this one isn't wrong. And why? Because Henrik kept the equation. Because he knew it could work. It doesn't have the word failure either. He kept the equation under the keyboard, so he couldn't lose it. Also, the omega symbol, in statistics, it's used as the symbol for the sample space, or total set of possible outcomes. And then we have this. A strange vortex. We know that Henrik isn't responsible, because he was surprised when that thing appeared. Some people are saying that Marvin is responsible, so I have a theory. What if Marvin was the one fighting against Auntie since the very beginning? That would explain the phrase time is broken. It can be broken because Marvin is trying his best to stop him, rewinding time and getting everyone into a loop. Then Chase got involved, but couldn't do much in his state. And now Marvin is trying to reunite everyone, teleporting every single ego, just like he did with Chase and now Henrik. That's why we haven't seen him in a long time. Because he's fighting Auntie to save his friends. And yet those were some of the theories that I could find on Tumblr, aside from the community freaking out over Henrik's comeback. So that was Schneeplestein's video, so let's move on the next thing.
Halloween!
So much trouble. All for something so small.
So back on October 20th, Jack posted a video, and basically the video was normal until at the end. That ending gave me some serious quit the game to win vibes, because just look at it. Like, that is very creepy, but at the same time, god damn is he good at acting. I mean, that smooth transition to when his smile slowly fades to a serious look, unlike back in Quit the Game to Win, when Jack had that staring contest with us, which I'll never forget, because I still remember it to this very day. And just a couple days ago, Mark uploaded the trailer for a heist with Markiplier, and there are a lot of things that happened in the trailer that are, I would say, note-taking. But as I was looking through the Markiplier tag on Tumblr, I may have stumbled across a analyzing post. So let's take a look at it. First we see us scouting out the museum in the bushes, while Mark talks over the footage. He says,
"Oh, this is it? This is really it?"
Possibly referring to whatever you're trying to steal upon finding it. He could also be talking about the museum itself. Next we see this shot, which seems to be us hiding either on the roof or nearby it. I can't really tell. We load what appears to be a grappling hook as Mark says.
This is gonna change our lives forever.
It seems like whatever we're trying to steal is extremely valuable. Possibly supernatural. Next there's a few shots of us hiding, and then it cuts to Bob and Wade as security guards. They talk about trying to find us, and how they should split up. Wade seems to be quite reckless with his gun. Mark tells us to stick to the plan, but from what we've seen, we don't really have a plan. He then wishes us luck and grapples away. So obviously we are going to be splitting up at some point. This seems to be after we've broken inside the museum. There's a shot of someone looking for us, and then a cave. We see shots of this cave several times throughout the trailer, including one later of us seemingly falling into it. I believe we are not supposed to end up in this cave. Mark does some flips, and we then see a shot of what appears to be an underground sewer or tunnel system. We are probably going to be using this tunnel to sneak through the museum. We then hear alarms going off and lights flashing as Mark is running away from some guards. I believe this leads to a bad ending of some kind. We for sure fucked up here. Maybe we touched something and set the alarms off by accident. The next shot is us going through a thin tunnel of some sort. Perhaps an underground passageway. Then something scares us, and we quickly change to running away. The only strange thing about these images is the fact that Mark is suddenly wearing a suit. The same one from May-Date with Markiplier. I'm not sure when, but at some point Mark goes through a costume change. Next up we see an image of what appears to be the same tunnel from earlier in the video. Clearly this tunnel is important, and I think we'll come back to it multiple times in the video. After that we see Mark driving us in a van with a smirk on his face. I think this shot could be from one of two options. Mark is driving us to the museum and giving us the rundown on the plan and what we are stealing. Mark is a getaway driver after a successful heist, and this is the best ending. We've stolen what we needed to, and are getting out of there. It looked like we were driving on some rough terrain, so I think this option is likely. Alright, I'm gonna be honest with you on this one. I have no idea what this shot could be. There is a shot later in the trailer of us jumping into some water, so that could tie into this. Perhaps we have to resort to escaping by water after we run away. Next up is Mark running away from someone. The reason I say someone and not something is because we can hear someone yelling behind us after Mark screams. Someone is chasing us here. After this we see a security guard with some sort of bag over their head. This shot is quite unnerving and much scarier than the rest of the shots in the trailer. Perhaps there will be some spooky events in the videos? It's quite fitting for the date the video releases. After this we see something that I certainly did not expect to see. Zombies. Mark is once again wearing that suit, and we are both hastily running away from a small group of zombies. Perhaps one of the endings will involve one of us being bitten by one of these zombies. I have no idea where this comes from, or how it's suddenly daylight, but it ends up like this somehow. Next there's a shot of us running away from some exploding barrels. I believe this is part of the shot we saw earlier of the alarms going off with fire. Obviously one of the endings involves us royally fucking up. Finally, after we see the shot I mentioned earlier of us falling into the cave, we see some shots that involve us getting caught. Honestly these are the ones I'm most excited for. First up we see the actor who plays Chef as a cop laughing as he slams us into what appears to be an interrogation room. After that we see Abe pointing to us in a police line. Next up is Mark waking us up from a knocked out state, once again in his suit. I'm really curious how he goes from full heist attire to a suit. I feel like all of the suit shots are us running away from the police. Then a security guard faces us as Mark sneaks away from behind a potted plant behind his back. It seems like we are distracting him. Perhaps this is what leads to us getting caught. The security guard says,
"Right in the eyes,"
probably asking us to look him in the eyes. This is an important shot we'll come back to later. Let's calm down and try to discern what this could possibly be. I have a few ideas. Actor Mark makes all of these stories as of Damien, so this could have been planted there by him inside the museum. Perhaps we see it and go into a trance, remembering the events of who killed Markiplier until Mark snaps us out of it. This is a Darkiplier moment. We see the painting in the museum and are all of a sudden brought into Dark's realm. That voice we hear talking to us in this scene is Dark himself. Either way, I believe this painting is somewhere in the museum. Perhaps we run off on our own and are drawn to the painting. A lot of people in this trailer seem to be referring to us as you. Probably to reference the whole "you choose the story." Another scene from us getting caught. This police officer says, "This is obviously from us getting caught. We might have killed someone on the way because we obviously did something that made this officer really upset." Here's another shot of us running from something. This time we are running through what appears to be a jungle or the woods. Next we see Bob and Wade calling us partner. The weird thing is these two were security guards earlier. Perhaps we are hallucinating, and we are seeing Mark as these two. There is a glitch between these two. Or maybe this is two different endings, one with Wade and the other with Bob. Here is a shot I think is very interesting. Matt Pat is a crazy dude, seemingly lost in whatever cave we are in. He tells us to watch our head. I think this results from us running through the woods. We are obviously separated from Mark by this point. I think we hide in this cave that Matt happens to be living in. Also, what is it with Matt and playing crazy guys? Here we see some sort of mechanic calling someone his best friend. Mark looks very confused and ready to fight. This is another one of those shots that's hard to determine out of context. Here is where I bring back that last screenshot I said we'd talk about later. Here we see Rosanna Pansino wielding a large laser gun. She actually looks a lot like the female Doc Ock from Into the Spider-Verse. The reason I bring up the last shot is because if you notice, it's in the same room. If you look behind Rosanna, you can see a door and a red emergency object. If you look at the running shot, you'll see the same door and object. Perhaps these are two different outcomes of the same route. One where you run, and one where you stay. The interesting thing here is that Rosanna calls us a traitor. I wonder why. Finally there's this image, which I assume is what we are trying to steal. It looks like some sort of ancient artifact. It looks a little Egyptian in nature to me. This is why I assumed what we'd be stealing had some sort of supernatural element to it. Overall, I'm super excited for this video to come out. You'll know I'm going to be making a chart for all of the endings. I think this trailer really gives us a taste of almost every possible scenario. That's all the stuff that I could do for today, everybody, even though there wasn't any theories about the trailer for a heist with Markiplier. But man, that was long, and as the time I'm editing this is very late at night at 3 in the morning, so this took me about a week to do this. But it was worth doing this. Yeah, you can tell this took me a while to get to because I had other things to do aside from watching Demon Slayer. But my fellow theorists, if I ever do get the time for theories, that I hope it won't take as long as this one did. In all of honesty, this is actually my longest theory that I've done. Part 8 was about 30 minutes long, but this one was just as longer than just 30 minutes. So my fellow theorists for both communities, be on the lookout for any hints and keep your peepers peeled. So I'm Jeff, your favorite theorist, and I'll see you later. Theorists, keep theorizing.
Hello everybody. My name is Markiplier and welcome to 3 Games. This was 3 Games.